right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cup of Joe, where we get a chance to talk about the incredible things that we can do as leaders to tell a story of our schools. And for today's not my story, because I gotta be honest, that we have an incredible staff member in our midst that is doing unbelievable things on Instagram. And they weren't available, so Tasha is here.
It's true. That is true.
So that's right. But honestly, Tasha Newton is doing incredible things when it comes to Instagram stories and really connecting with a huge audience when it comes to the work that's happening in her classroom. And I am so proud of the work that she's doing. And to talk about what Instagram stories can really look like in your school, it's got to be her, not me. So thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
To be here.
Yeah, it's a really cool opportunity to just kind of tell stories in a different capacity. So,
definitely.
So over the course of the last year or so, you've seen your Instagram following just completely skyrocket. And it's a testament to a lot of hard work that went into it. But what we want to know, like from an outside perspective, how did you get that, that momentum when it comes to like growing that following on your Instagram and your Instagram stories?
So I think the biggest thing for me was just setting goals for myself. So my biggest goal was that I wanted to post an image on Instagram daily, and I wanted to share something that's happening in my classroom daily. So at least some form of process that's going on in my classroom, so that the majority of my followers are art teachers, and they like to see the process of the projects that we're doing. They also like to see the materials we're using, how we set it up, and the students' responses. So that was my biggest focus there.
That's great. And so when you started doing that, what did you find yourself like? What did you find the most engagement? Was it coming through the process? Was it coming through the content? Was it coming through like certain images? Where did you see the most people like engage in that conversation?
So surprisingly, when I first started, it would definitely be the photographs that I posted in the comments from those photographs. But since I've been working on my stories a lot and posting a lot more throughout the day on my stories, I get a lot of direct messages from teachers commenting and asking me questions. Right now, I have a teacher in Saudi Arabia who are my students in 3rd grade are going to be creating some artwork that we're going to be exchanging with students in Saudi Arabia. So my students are getting really engaged and really excited on Instagram through that. I have gone live a couple times, and I've had a lot of students kind of coming in and sharing the process of what we've been doing, as well as what they thought about it, so teachers can really see and hear from a real student about the process. So a lot of engagement from students, but mostly from teachers too.
So tell me about that. What has that allowed you to do as an educator in terms of the connections? What have those connections meant to you when it comes to not like now you're not just like things that are happening in your classroom are not just happening in your classroom, they're happening globally.
Exactly.
So what does that look like for you? What does that mean to you as an educator?
For me, I feel this year, I feel like the most successful teacher I've ever been in my life. I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
It's so cool.
It is cool because I've been the only elementary art teacher in my school district. Right. Now I can connect with thousands of elementary art teachers throughout the world. So if I'm having an issue, I can post it on my story and get multiple responses right away on ways to solve that problem. So that's been my favorite part. I feel like a lot more support as a teacher, and I know right away some questions I can ask and who I can ask them to.
So I get a little bit, anyway, I get a little just because like she's an amazing teacher. She's always been an amazing teacher. But to know that her story and the story of her classroom is being told outside of these walls is unbelievable for me, because now I get to see people react to things that she's doing that we get to see all the time. And it's just super cool. So thank you for that. So the last thing is, there are people out there that don't want to use stories, they don't want to use Instagram, they don't want to use all these things because they think it takes up way too much time. And I think when it comes to the reason that people don't go into these platforms, time is almost always the thing that comes up in that conversation. So if you think about like what your day looks like in terms of time, how do you find the time, within the context of everything that you do, how do you find the time to do these additional pieces? Well, you got to take calls from time to time.
Correct.
After taking calls.
After the calls, after the prep, after the lesson planning, right? That's when I find time. No, but really, realistically, it really doesn't take any time out of my day
Mm-hmm.
because my stories take place while my students are working. I'm just recording, doing a 15-second recording of what they're doing. When I'm talking about the process, I'm talking about it as I'm setting out for things. So I'm already doing what I would have been doing originally. You're constantly photographing and documenting what your students are doing, hopefully anyways. So now I'm just taking that and posting it, and it takes about maybe like 3 minutes.
Okay, cool, awesome. And that's
So-
and anybody can find that in their day. It's not about finding more time; it's just trading time on the
It
other side.
is.
So
And
that's
knowing
fun.
that, I think the biggest thing is knowing that you're going to spend time on it, but knowing too that it's going to be worth it. It's definitely going to be worth it.
That's cool. Excellent. Well, if you are not following I Art My Job on all platforms like you need to immediately, the work that's happening in this classroom is astounding, and it needs to be in every building in America right now. So please make sure that you're following that feed and to get incredible lessons and that kind of thing. Most importantly for me, thank you for what you do for kids. Secondly, as importantly, or just a little bit underneath that, is thank you for what you're doing for people across the country in terms of telling your story. But you're crushing it, and we're just really proud of you.
It's fun. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful day, and go Crickets.
Thank you.